The world is a wild and unpredictable place. And isn't that absolutely amazing? Products can catch fire overnight. A back-of-the-napkin idea can change the world. An incurable disease can suddenly appear vulnerable. So many wonderfully improbable, never-before-possible breakthroughs are out there, waiting to be discovered. And with Amazon Web Services using custom Intel technology, you'll be ready for anything. Ready to unlock a human genome, to cure a debilitating disease, to go to another planet, to teach the world a new language, to fuel the world. Because you'll have Amazon Web Services featuring custom Intel technology at your fingertips. Because AWS and Intel engineers have worked together for over a decade to make sure you'll be ready. And because you'll have AWS's most innovative and powerful cloud service platform to help you make the impossible possible. That is the power of AWS with Intel. So go ahead, chase the moonshots. Double down on what's working. Pivot from what isn't. With Amazon Web Services and Intel, you can charge toward the unknown, ready for anything, and ready to change everything.
Welcome to the 2019 AWS Public Sector Summit ASEAN in Singapore. Please help me welcome to the stage, Tan-Lee Chiu, Managing Director, Worldwide Public Sector, ASEAN, Amazon Web Services.
Welcome to the first ever ASEAN Public Sector Summit. Well, first of all, apologies for this theatrics. I kind of fractured my foot a couple of weeks ago, so I wouldn't want to miss this opportunity. So first of all, I want to add my warm welcome for those of you who have joined us from out of town. Welcome to Singapore. We are really excited that this year we have customers joining us from all over Southeast Asia, and it's definitely a sign that the momentum of cloud computing is growing. So thank you for joining us this morning. Well, first of all, let me acknowledge our sponsors, without which this keynote would not have been possible. Our special thanks to our global sponsors, Intel. Intel has been a partner of ours for more than 10 years now. VMware created Cloud Health to manage data center, for data centers to be managing, the data, the workloads, and the configuration, the performance. And we are so excited that we have them partnering with us. And of course, Veeam. Veeam is doing an incredible job providing solutions for data protection as well as for cloud backup. We have platinum, gold, silver sponsors as well as exhibitors that have been on our summit journey with us all through the year. And these sponsors, bring with them a lot of expertise that can help you on your cloud journey do things much faster and much, much quicker. So today, as we look at the summit, we have a great day of learning planned for you. Yesterday, we started with a pre-day, and we had separate tracks covering government and healthcare and not-for-profit and education. It was an awesome time where customers and partners could come together and share experiences. Today is no different. We have planned a day of great learning. And at AWS, we believe that at the heart of innovation is a spirit, a pioneering spirit, and an iterative spirit. So when we create summits like this, we hope that big thinkers can learn to build on AWS and AWS Cloud. So after the keynote, you will see that we have various sessions and various tracks prepared for you to help you accelerate the pace of innovation, as well as to get you to be migration ready. I hope that you have downloaded the application that will help you navigate the sessions through the day. If not, the application is AWS Summit, so go ahead and download that. Without further ado, it is my privilege and my pleasure to welcome on stage Teresa Carlson, who is our founder of the worldwide public sector business, a lady who's passionate about helping public sector organizations deal with their transformation using the AWS cloud. Please put your hands together and welcome Teresa.
Thank you. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Wow, look at this. This is our first ever summit here for the region. This is great. Next year, I know this will triple because there's so many people in the Southeast Asia region. And I think we have tons of customers and partners who are excited to learn about cloud computing and what it can do for your business and your mission. So my name's Teresa Carlson, and I run our public sector business worldwide. And again, it's exciting to be here in beautiful Singapore. And thank you, Lee Chu. We're really so happy to have Lee Chu now as our leader here and helping us drive the business. But again, we have people from everywhere: Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and beyond. So this is really great to learn from each other and hear about your individual experiences. So again, welcome to our both yesterday and today. So I want to talk to you this morning about accelerating the public sector innovation and transformation for your journey. One of the things that I tell my customers and partners that we've done this from day one is we have amazing leadership principles at Amazon. And if you don't know them, please go up and take a look at them. But they're meaningful, they're deep in what we do, but yet simple in terms of understanding. But in our public sector business, we've always talked about two additional principles, which is paving the way for disruptive innovation and making the world a better place. And that's what we want to help you do with what you're trying to achieve with your journey, utilizing information technology in a new and informative way. I came to Singapore, I think the first time I came here was 2011. And I started in 2010 building a public sector business, and I think the first time I came here was around 2011. And it's changed so much, but when I came here, we had already built our region here in Singapore. So we've invested a lot in this region. Our first region, 2010 is when we launched the region. And soon after that, I was here beginning to meet with customers, understanding the needs for the region. And then in 2012, I hired a leader for the region, Peter Moore, which you'll hear from today, to help me come and build out our community, build our employees, and begin to meet with our customers and really understand how we help move them forward with cloud computing. But we definitely didn't stop there. And it seems like this since I was here the last time, and fast forward, and now we've launched, in those 8 years, we've launched 7 additional regions across Asia Pacific, and one just recently in the Middle East. I was just there doing our Middle East Summit in Bahrain. So these are all regions that our customers can take advantage of. So we've made billions of dollars of investment in the region so that you can actually have your data where you need it. But we're not stopping. And in fact, if you've kind of paid attention, we just made an announcement of a new region that that's going to be here by early 2022 in Indonesia, in Jakarta. So that's exciting. Yay, right? So we have another region coming for our customers there. And Indonesia is another place that is exciting for us and is growing in terms of what they're trying to achieve. But these are all regions that you can take advantage of. And why are we doing this? Why do we continue to make investments ahead of demand for our customers? Well, it's because we're listening to you. And we hear you telling us that you need services where you are. You want data sovereignty in many of the countries. You want to work regionally. You want backup, and you want low latency. So again, we hear you, and we continue to build, and before you know it, we'll probably be announcing another region, because in the fullness of time, we're going to have regions in many places around the world. So with that, you can see that we've made investments as a global network. So we have 22 geographic regions in 69 availability zones around the world. And 3 more that we just announced in South Africa, again, Indonesia, which I just shared, and Italy. And not only are we launching these regions, but we make sure that you have the security you need. So we encrypt traffic between all these regions, over 2.6 million miles of network that we operate on a global basis. So again, we're here for your mission. We're here to make sure that you have the services you need to build on what you're trying to achieve every day and move faster. The other thing that we've listened to you about is creating a net zero carbon footprint. And I don't know if you saw, but we just made an announcement on September 19th, our chairman and CEO, Jeff Bezos, that Amazon has become the first company ever to sign the climate pledge. And it's a commitment to net zero carbon footprint across our entire business by 2040. And this is 10 years ahead of the goals that are outlined in the Paris Climate Agreement. So we want this to create a flywheel approach. We want all of our partners to get on board with us and make the same commitment. And we think we can help drive this in a very big way because we are a big user of everything: energy, power, telecommunications. We buy a lot of equipment, so we want all of our partners to get on board with this. The other thing that I know around the world that our customers and partners want from us are resources to help you move faster. It's the thing I heard it yesterday from the customers right here in Singapore. You want to move faster. So in order to make sure that you are moving faster, we have a very high bar in our employees that we hire. We make sure that they have the right certifications themselves to help you, and they are high in their area of expertise. But we have continued to make a big commitment. You heard me talking about hiring Peter Moore in 2012. Lee Chu is our leader now for ASEAN. We have a leader here in Singapore. We continue to commit to hiring leaders and staffing. And these are just examples of resources that you have available to you here in this region. So you have everything from our solutions architect team to our partner network team and everything in between. Your account team, security and compliance experts, partner alliance experts, professional services. We have a public policy team. We have marketing. We have legal resources, HR. So we've committed in the country, in the region, to have these resources where you need them at the time that you need them, because we want to help you move faster. And not only do we have our resources, but we know that we need to force multiply ourselves in a big way and have a community around us that helps our customers through our APN, our AWS APN partner network. And that partner network also continues to grow. And here is just an example from our partner network who's helping the customers. Now, our partners, make sure, if you get a chance today, go down to the area that you can see them in their booths and make sure you talk to them and let them answer questions for you, because we have so many great partners. Some you saw earlier from sponsoring the event, but that really help us force multiply what we're doing to help you move faster. And again, we have millions of active customers every day on AWS. So we have millions daily using the AWS services, our platform, and these are just a few here in the ASEAN region of public sector customers. So our public sector customers grow and grow, and we're not going to be able to even fit them ever on a slide, but these are just great examples of customers that said, yes, we want to share what we're doing. And one example is a customer here for the Ministry of Education in Myanmar. And this ministry has turned to AWS to help improve their data collection and help them move faster with their communication between the ministry and 47,000 schools across the country. And they built a new mobile app powered by AWS to share data and insights between all these schools. Because if you're trying to go into different systems and understand what's going on, it takes you a really long time. This app pulls all that together and has helped them spend more time in their classroom versus going in and digging out data. And it's truly transformative for this ministry of education. And it's just one example of many of how customers have used the cloud to pull the information together in a data set that looks at it simply and informatively and helps them move a lot faster. Now, if you go around the world and you talk to any single customer, they'll tell you what they believe the advantages of the cloud are for them. But these are the ones that I hear the most from my customers, which are speed, agility, security. In fact, I hear more people now telling me they're moving to the cloud because of security. I used to hear I can't move to the cloud because of security. Now it's really the top reason, I would say, of all these is agility and security. The ability to experiment, fail fast, and move forward fast based on those learnings. Pay for only what you use. No big upfront licensing. People don't want to buy license anymore. They don't want to buy more than they're using. That's a very outdated model. And customers want to try. They want to experiment and then scale. And that's what you can do with cloud. You don't need to go out and buy a whole lot of technology that you don't need. And that's very old school now. So buying more than you need and not being able to use it, being on the shelf. And then last is deploying globally. So many of our customers and partners want a service, want a partner that they can work with in cloud, that they can not just deploy locally, but they want to deploy globally. We have so many partners that use every region. As soon as we launch a region, they deploy there. And they're like, when are you going to be here? So they're pushing us. And when I tell you, when I showed you that footprint, those regions are totally based on what we hear from our customers and partners in terms of their needs. The other thing I really wanted to share with you this morning was kind of what I've seen over the past 10 years of building this business on what helps customers move fast in the public sector space, specifically government customers, or and many, if you think about education or health, all of these, a lot of them fit in the public sector governmental realm. But building a culture of cloud computing. What is it you actually need to do that? And you know, I've seen this and I've told this story a lot. I keep kind of evolving it, but it is a true story with elements and pillars that really I've seen customers, if all of these come together in a way, the customers, it really helps them move a lot faster. And it's basically, you need a true definition of cloud computing. What is the definition of cloud? Not a made up, not a whitewash, not, kind of cloud. You need a true definition of cloud. You need a cloud first policy. Agencies and ministries definitely need a cloud first policy, because if, it's easy not to move. It's easy to say, oh, that's too hard. I can't do that. So you need leaders and you need leadership that puts in a cloud first policy, and that they stick to a time on how they're trying to drive that cloud first policy. And then it's very important for these agencies and ministries, different groups, to have a security, privacy, and compliance program that they can snap into. You don't want your agency leaders to be guessing. What is my controls? What are the controls that are most important for a low security workload, a medium or high, secret, top secret? You need a regime that you can snap into that is understandable and that there's no guessing around it. You need a procurement vehicle. Believe it or not, just like when I first started at AWS, there were 0 cloud procurement vehicles anywhere across any government around the world, anywhere. The first one ever was something that GSA out of the US tried that failed miserably because they set it up and that you couldn't update it. Well, cloud is innovative by nature, so you can't set up a stagnant procurement vehicle. So that's kind of one thing. That's the next thing. And then you need skills and training. If you don't know how to use cloud, it's going to be hard to use that cloud first policy and move. And you need experimentation along the way. You got to get going, because we have a saying, there's no compression algorithm for experience. And then you need speed and scale. Once you have all those elements, you can move really fast. Let's go into each one just a little bit. So defining the cloud. What is cloud? What is the true definition of cloud? And NIST out of the US was the first one that ever created a cloud computing definition. And I still see it used in procurements around the world. They'll have a definition from NIST. But it is eliminating upfront expense. You can spin up resources when needed, scale them on demand, and move them down when you don't need them. You can focus on innovation, and you can deploy globally. So again, these are kind of principles. Again, think about it. No upfront cost. You try it. You spin up the resources. You can spin them down. You use only what you need. So it's a really important aspect of elements, and then you can deploy it. It's not limited to a data center. Then let's talk about cloud-first policies. Cloud-first policies were very much unknown. I mean, nobody. What's a cloud-first policy? Well, it means that you're going to think, when you're doing a project, you're going to go cloud first. And then if you can't do cloud, you have to say why you're not doing cloud. So these are examples, believe it or not, of countries now that have done cloud-first policies. We don't even have the U.S. on here, but the U.S. was the first one. And that was done by a man called Vivek Kundra, who was the CIO of the U.S. government, who made it was like a big deal because he did a cloud-first policy. And then people started getting in line to go do this, and they didn't know how to do cloud first because people didn't know what cloud was. So now look, the world has changed. In less than 10 years, we have Singapore, Japan, Australia, India, Philippines, Brazil, Colombia, the UK, Bahrain, all having cloud-first policies. Totally are changing their IT delivery as a result of this new technology, web services. And the UK, in fact, has a cloud-native policy where it's always cloud. That is all they think about until there's another reason. Then you need that security, compliance, and privacy model. The first one that ever was created was one called FedRAMP in the US. And FedRAMP has a low, a medium, and a high, low, moderate, and high. Now, there's been many things built off this and have changed. The first one was down here on the right called FSMA. And FSMA was it's kind of we meet it, but it's a very old model where as soon as you print out the documents, it's outdated. It was all like paper-based. So FedRAMP was something, again, created out of the U.S., and now we've seen many countries begin to pick up and use variations. There's even, it's a cloud security model. And there's many now enterprise corporations that are using FedRAMP as a model for a cloud security because the controls are all very similar. You just have to decide your classification environment. And then you'll see many add-ons. So you might have a set of 300 cloud security controls, and then you have an agency or ministry that'll add a few more based on their individual needs. And then this is just kind of, I call it the lazy Susan or the F1 slide of what we've achieved from IRAP to MTCS to PCI, just numerous ones. And we continue to add more and more of these, which are important. And all of these, 100% of AWS services have attested and also are GDPR ready, which is, of course, privacy, which we see more and more. And in addition, here in Singapore, by the way, we've achieved certification for all 3 levels, which is really important for us. And we wanted to make sure that we were doing that. We heard from our customers. But we are equally as vigilant about privacy. And here's just some examples. Think about this, 2010, 2012, you never heard about privacy acts. So now privacy, GDPR out of Europe. But now you have privacy, you have data protection laws. So it's important also when you have a cloud provider, you can be assured that they're meeting those privacy certifications or protection acts that are created across the countries. We're going to continue to see a lot more of these. We met with our India customer just recently. They're doing something similar. So we're going to see more of these. So it's important that we listen and we keep up. But we don't stop. Every day we continue to add more services and features. We have over 200 plus now focused on security, compliance, and governance that you can take advantage of. Many of these, by the way, you've asked us, how do you operate at Amazon and AWS in a secure way? So some of these services we've launched just based on your request of what we're doing. And then we have great partners also helping in this area to support also our customers' needs. And in fact, today, like I said, we're not stopping. We continue to listen to you, and based on your feedback, we're rolling out a new service today called Threat Detection using AI that governments and public sector customers can easily deploy. But this is launching worldwide in preview, and we're interested in engaging with you today here in Southeast Asia to participate in this rollout. And until now, automated threat detection solutions were written rules to identify potential cyber attacks that you could have. And now you can use this AI, which relies on deep learning and algorithms that you can take advantage of to identify attacks. So if you have a chance, if you go to our AWS Professional Services booth today, and they'll walk you through what this is and how you can take advantage of it in preview. Then we talked about you need a procurement vehicle. Again, I remember no one knew how to write one, and still I hear from acquisition officials that they struggle, like how do you write a cloud procurement vehicle? Well, we have now tons of models ensuring that you can quickly and easily do this. And this is just an example. I wanted the team to kind of share some that we've seen. You have one right here in Singapore, the GovTech Government Commercial Cloud Infrastructure, which is moving a lot of the Singapore government to the cloud right now, and they have a model you can snap into, which is really important. The Digital Transformation Agency in Australia, which is a whole of government model. You have the Government Common Platform in Japan. Then kind of going down, you have the ICT Authority Framework in Israel. Yeah, I mean, name it. You have IGAs in Bahrain. We have numerous ones now. I could fill 14 slides on what we have across the United States and state governments. Totally changed. Totally changed. There was no such thing. So now not only do we have these purchasing vehicles, we have individuals who understand how to write them and how to utilize them. And remember, this is based on operating, not capital expense models. Pay for what you use as you go, which is a very different model. The other thing that we have, I don't know if any of you have gone out to the AWS Marketplace, but we have over 4,800 plus listings on Marketplace and growing. And if you've ever gone to Amazon.com and shopped, this is kind of like the AWS Amazon, where you can buy software tools and APIs. You can go in and do different things. So it's very cool. So many of our partners' offerings are on this marketplace. So if you get a chance, go look at it at Amazon.com, aws.amazon.com/marketplace. So now what I'd like to do is bring up one of our customers so he can share with you what they've done, all these kind of pillars I've shared. He's going to come up and talk to you about how they've kind of used these and what they're doing with their Smart City initiative here in Singapore. So please welcome to the stage Tan Kok Yam to talk about Singapore and the Smart Nation and Digital Government Office.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you and good morning. I'm very happy and honored to be here today to be sharing a little of what we do in Singapore, particularly in the public sector. For those who join us from overseas, a very warm welcome to Singapore. Please stay a little while longer, as evidently you have brought good weather with you. Or you can leave and just leave the tech behind, however you do it. So, the customer is here because it's not the tech you have, but what you do with it. I'm going to share a little bit about what we do in my office, what we do in the public sector, making use of what cloud capabilities can provide. And this is an ongoing journey. It will not stop now. It is not static. It's something that we continue to learn along the way. Usually, I have a slide that says, I have a slide that looks proportionally the same as this. It'll be, 1/3 of it will be digital government, there will be digital economy and digital society, and that's the usual way that we share about our Smart Nation initiative. But today, I think this audience is a little bit more interested and will appreciate the specific initiatives and projects that we are putting in place. So I've decided to talk about this in the form of the challenges that we're trying to solve, how we are matching the solutions to these challenges, and the journey that we are undertaking. And of course, part of this journey will include how we deploy the public cloud. So, what is it? I think every country, every city, every society, every government will have a set of problems, a set of challenges that it wants to solve. So how do we make the economy more productive? How do you create more jobs, give people more opportunities to do what they want to do with their lives, with their livelihoods? How do we be a better government, serve businesses, serve citizens better as the public sector? And how do we just create the space to allow people to be creative, to be innovative, to pursue their dreams? Well, some of the dreams might fail, some of it might succeed, but just to be able to lay down the opportunities for individuals, for companies, for organizations to be able to pursue these ideas and their dreams. So these are evergreen problems. They are not problems that were here because of the cloud or any concept of modern software computing, but modern software solutions do offer us some new ways, some new approaches to these problems. And essentially, what we mean by Smart Nation is to be able to match some of these evergreen national problems to modern software solutions. So, when we talk about creating jobs, creating opportunities, we think about digital architecture for the nation. What does that mean? Well, this is what states do. This is what governments do. We build roads, we make sure the utilities are in place. What is the equivalent of the utilities in the digital space? And I'll talk a little bit about that, a specific example. We want to look at how we can serve citizens and businesses from their point of view, not from our point of view, not from the fact that I have 99 agencies and each agency wants to do its thing with the user, with the customer. We want to talk about it from the customer's point of view, one customer, one moment of life that he has, one specific service journey that he has. How do I optimize that for him, not for me? And finally, we want to talk about, even within the public sector, how I can have an environment that allows the innovators, the developers, and when I say developers, I don't just mean the software developers, people with ideas, policy officers, data analysts. How do I allow all these people to apply their minds to the problems they want to solve, instead of looking at the engineering and the piping and the backend and all the backend stuff that they used to have to do? How do I do all these three things to create growth, to provide better service, and to improve innovation? So I'll start with the first one, which is about digital architecture. And a key part of this is how we are going to build the national digital identity. There's a key component of a national digital architecture because it is what it is to allow trusted transactions to occur in the digital space. Trusted transactions of data, trusted transactions of permissioning, and so on and so forth. This is how it evolves. 1965 is our independence, and we have physical IC cards. In March 2015, we put the SingPass in place. And then after that, March 2013, 2003, and after that, from 2015 onwards, a whole slew of activity as we strengthen the identity system, as we move towards a MyInfo, which is basically a data vault for each individual. We put in place a CODEX, which is the equivalent of the ID, the citizen identity, but for companies. And then we move to SingPass Mobile so that people can use it from their smartphone. And finally, what we are targeting for in 2020 is to be able to have a full-fledged national digital identity that not just serves the government when you are transacting the citizen, that serves the private sector as well. So a company can use this identity basis to also do their businesses with citizens, with other companies. So this is a bit of a stack that we look at it. The first part, or the bottom two parts, the data of the individual, the identity of the individual has to be done by government. Trusted, government is a trusted partner, a trusted broker, defined by us. We collect this data for regulation, we collect this data to provide services, and so on and so forth. And it is government verified data, government verified identity. On top of that, how the data is to be accessed with permission, with consent, and what services you're going to build on top of that. What kind of trusted services you're going to build on top of that should be created, should be defined, should be explored by the private sector. And this is how we see a national digital identity stack being built in Singapore. What are some of the products that the citizen will see? We have already put in place one-click registration for MyInfo. Basically, instead of filling up a form, you just permission the government to be able to pass your data to the company that you want to transact with. So whether there's a credit card application, whether there's a loan application, whether there's an insurance application, this service is already available. For government services, and we are extending this to private sector as well, QR login, which is basically being able to log in using a QR code. Similarly, a QR identity verification, which is the same as a QR login, except this is in a physical space. We tried that out recently at the National Day Rally. It worked. It didn't fail. We are quite glad that it didn't fail. And it's something that we want to look towards extending that to other forms of physical verification. It is a safer way than passing your IC, your physical NRIC, to the security guard. Delegation of authority, very, very important for us because we are an aging society. We all have personal stories about how you need to give your delegate certain authority either to your old grandma or for your old grandma to delegate the authority to you. How do I negotiate that? We're going to try to put something in place. Document signing, working in various companies for solutions. Signing of document based on the identity that is verified, that is brokered by government. Facial recognition biometrics, building on top of this, and of course an inbox for notifications from public sector and beyond public sector. So these are some of the go-to markets that we want to put in place to build on top of the national digital identity. I talked about go-to markets. We also want the national digital identity to go places. We are talking with various governments, various jurisdictions, and we hope that there can be some way that we can have mutual recognition, mutual arrangements for interoperability between us and the EU, us and India, Australia, New Zealand, and so on and so forth. This is a photo of where it went, just a very recent one. I just sort of snapped it from the paper, and it just shows the potential of the national digital identity traveling beyond our borders. Here is my Prime Minister showing the President of Kenya the app. So half my mind is like, wow, that's really cool, right? It's an app we developed and it's showing, and the President talking. The other half is like, better don't die now. It's a national embarrassment. so it didn't. I think it didn't. I didn't get a letter. So that is what example of what we are doing to build the national data architecture. Now, the second part is to improve our own service. And really, we are taking the philosophy that we should walk with the citizen in his service journey and be with him for that particular moment of life. So if that moment of life is about starting a family, if that moment of life is enrolling in school and so on, we wrap our services around that moment instead of having the citizen wrap his mind around the many agencies that he has to go to. Really, this is about, you know, when you do the old-fashioned call, and you press 1 for this, press 2 for that, and so on and so forth. It is really about just someone or something, a chatbot that says, you know, you want to deal with your housing loan deadline. How do I help you with that specific issue? You don't have to press 1, 4, 5, 6, or 7. The corollary is that we are removing the need for the citizens to navigate the government bureaucracy. So I talk about a moment. This is a happy moment of the birth of a baby. You have to register it with our immigration and customs authority. You have to receive a nice baby bonus from the Ministry of for MSF. You have to immunize the fella. You have to hunt for childcare from the Ministry of Education. And we just want to do all this one shot, one app. We call it the Moments of Life. We start with the Moments of Life family, supporting the users through the service journey, and all the things that I show in the previous slide can be done on a single app, on a single interface that will also show you the progress of you know, doing the things that you need to do with the kid. I think it just doesn't help you give birth actually. So, but everything else, everything else is the government, it ought to cover. We are extending this concept to other moments. So, for example, we have launched an active aging version of the Moments of Life in 2019. And what it does, it provides, it's a one-stop shop to provide the individual with access to government benefits, active aging programs, and so on and so forth. And this is targeted at the seniors, at the medical generation, that particular demographic. Same idea, we are going to apply that to businesses as well. So when businesses start, they go through a whole suite of activities. They need licenses to operate. They need to register with our ACRA. I'm terrible with acronyms. I can't remember my own acronyms. They need to register with the registration authority. They need to register with the tax department, IRAS, and so on and so forth. So we want that to be done as smooth as possible, because time lost in doing this means time lost in setting up a business, means time lost in being able to collect revenue, and for a company starting up, that might be critical. Growing, you have grants from the government, you have other forms of help, you have procurement, you have business opportunities from the government. You want to see whether you can put that together and package it so that it's easy to access for the company. Running the company, lots of things: employment, transactions, taxation, and so on and so forth. And finally, you know, exit. How do I close the company if I have to? Of course, how do I close the company in a smooth way, in an easy way, in a way that doesn't create any further administrative burden to our user, in this case, the business. So the same idea, wrapping the service, wrapping the transactions around the user, rather than taking a very agency-centric perspective to do the job. I come to my last point, which is really about a pro-developer operating environment, and we think that's critical. As we do many of these things, we want to be able to innovate internally. We want to be able to have ideas that are close to how we run our operations, have ideas that are close to how we write our policies, so that we are able to be agile, nimble, some of the words that Teresa, you yourself have used, in our policy making, because governments ought to be able to do that. Yes, so this helps because I can't remember the acronyms, right? So CODEX stands for Core Operations Development Environment and Exchange, and really what it means is to be able to build solutions better, cheaper, and faster. I want to re-engineer my internal digital infrastructure. I want to be able to have a unified government data architecture so that access to data, access to information is streamlined. You don't want a case where to start a data analytics project, you know, you spend 7 months trying to organize the data and 2 weeks actually doing the analytics. You also want to have a unified government technology stack so that things that are already being built can be applied across applications, across agencies, across different systems. So one example of that, a slightly dated example, is the case of SingPass, of course. One single authentication mechanism across all government services. First of all, what do we mean by architecting the government data, re-architecting government data? So we want to ease high-quality data across the government, across the data lifecycle. So in terms of data acquisition, where we can provide clean, verified, authoritative data, one point of collection for the entire government. Don't ask the citizen more than once for data they've already asked for. Number two, being able to bring the data together and being able to form the insights. Number three, being able to access and distribute in a secure way only to the people who require the data, only to the people who require a certain aspect of the data. Number four, being able to use the data, again, in a secure way, in an environment that is monitored and for authorized purposes. And finally, very importantly, being able to remove and purge the data sets when no longer in use. So we want to industrialize, we want to make this data flow, this data lifecycle as automated, as facilitated, as standardized as possible, both to ensure innovation and to have a high level of data protection, data security for the data that we hold. And about the technology stack, it is really about reducing duplicative work throughout public sector. So this is a very abstracted slide, but basically what it says is that in the past, you have to go all the way from the green to light blue, to middle blue, to dark blue. If you are a developer, you have to look at all these things from provisioning, platforms, orchestration, and so on and so forth. The technology stack ought to be able to reduce the developer's workload so that he focuses on what is at the front end, focuses on the solutions, on the definition of the applications, and so on and so forth. And well, I say reduce the developer's workload, but actually that's not true. I want the developer to just continue to work as hard, but focusing on those parts so that his output is multiplied by 10, 20 times. This is the value of the Singapore government technology stack. We want to improve delivery, we want to enable compliance because security, policies, and so on are hard-coded in. They are not manually put in place. They are standardized through code. They are distributed across the board. And with that, we want to enhance cybersecurity. Again, baking in security requirements and increasing and automating the oversight of our systems. So what is the journey from identifying the challenges to being able to come up with the solutions and to match the solutions to the challenges? Well, cloud is a key enabler. I'm not saying this just because this is the AWS Summit. It is indeed a key enabler. The scale and resiliency allows for things to be delivered. If you look at something like the National Digital Identity, we don't actually know what scale it would be. In our wildest dreams, we want it to be adopted by everyone, everywhere, and so on and so forth, but we don't actually know. So the ability to be elastic about the scale and the ability to provide that level of assurance, not just for the Singapore government, but now increasingly to companies, to individuals, to businesses, has to be there. We want the richness in services provided by the cloud. We don't want to, just as we don't want to reinvent something that is done by an agency, even more so, we do not want to reinvent something that has already been done by someone somewhere out there. Payment microservices, so on and so forth, is already out there, and we want to use it. And we want to be able to ease the development. We want to help the developer innovate by being able to have access to all the cloud tools, having those at his disposal. So for NDI, for National Digital Infrastructure, these are all the services that we are using in AWS Cloud, from CloudTrail, GuardDuty, and so on and so forth. New capabilities will have to enable new ways of working. And new ways of working, similarly, are compelled by the fact that these new capabilities exist. By using managed services, by abstracting away the complexities in managing highly available services, we want to be able to focus on achieving end-to-end seamless service delivery for citizens. By allowing for iterative development, we want to have the capacity to have continuous improvement of our apps. We want to be able to respond to citizen feedback, respond to user feedback, and be able to iteratively develop, iteratively release, so that our apps are always as good as it can be. And finally, by having scalable architecture, we want the confidence of being able to build infrastructure that is elastic, but at the same time that is resilient and reliable. When the president of Kenya is shown the app, we don't want that to fail. So scalable architecture is vital for us. What are the challenges along the way? It's not as if cloud will solve everything. There are significant challenges in the way the public sector will have to think about the issues, and it is not just the migration, even though that in itself is not a trivial task. Having to move from traditional legacy-based silo systems to the public cloud. Challenges includes a new way of operating, a mindset change. How do I work across, not just across agencies, but between the people who are operating the service and the people who are developing the apps, developing the software solutions. It involves new forms of risk and risk management. There was a discussion about, I think Teresa briefly mentioned about security. That's a big thing for all governments. How do I deal with risk management when I put things to the cloud? It has changed, the profile of the risk has changed, and how do I manage that? And finally, I spoke about it before, we don't start from tabula rasa. There are always legacy systems. When do I lift and shift? When do I redevelop? And this is from my colleague Jiao Ho, who some of you might know. He always says like fixing a plane in the mid-air. So that's how he feels all the time, right? So how do I shift legacy systems, and not legacy systems that can just freeze and put somewhere? Legacy systems that continue to serve citizens, that continue to be to not have to break down, and how do I shift that to the cloud in an orderly manner? I think I'm coming to my last few slides. I'm aware that I've sort of overstayed my presence on stage, but my last few slides are important because we are all learning together as a public sector, not just as a public sector in Singapore, as public sectors across the world. We are all in this journey. We are all learning together, and really there's always bragging rights, which country is first, which city is first, but really, the best thing that cities can do, that nations and governments can do, is to learn from one another. We do try. We have a digital government exchange where we bring in the CIOs of different countries into Singapore to have a discussion, and we want to think of new ways, more ways of collaborating across borders, bringing countries together, sharing knowledge, sharing information, which is vital at this time when the technology is moving so fast, when the industry is innovating so fast. And of course, working together also means developing competencies, developing collaboration with industry. We want to build on our hackathons. We have a Singapore 2019 Hackathon Challenge. We want to bring in the public, and we want to bring in companies such as the AWS to work together develop new ways of doing things, to increase our understanding of what can be done and what we want to do. So I've come to the end. This is my final slide. And really, being a smart nation for us is about using technology to solve real-world problems, to bring the cloud to ground, to put it that way. Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Thank you.
Well, I was just thinking, wow. I mean, there were so many amazing data points. Thank you, Deputy Secretary, for that really compelling presentation. I did a keynote speech for the Smart Nation conference here in Singapore. I want to say 2013 or 14. I'm looking at my team. And wow, you all have come a very long way. Congratulations. I mean, just some of your data points that you have in there, how you pulled this project together. But I just want to say what he outlined in almost every element of his presentation was what I shared. He said it through the solutions journey, which is much more impactful. What I gave you, and I'm going to go through a couple more points, but were the elements of all these things that are important. What he shared was really what he's done and his team to take each one of those and make his journey very effective. And the last thing I kind of noticed on his slide that he was talking about, they're doing a developer conference, a hackathon, was the skills development training. And this is one of the elements on my journey that I'm talking about. This is, believe it or not, the number one thing I hear around the world when I meet with customers and partners is they need skills and training, both from the elementary, primary school years all the way through reskilling, university and reskilling. So creating that culture of builders inside your public sector organization is really critical. And one of the things that we did early on, we said, as the largest provider of cloud computing in the world, we want to, it's our responsibility, we love that responsibility to take on to increase the skills. So we have everything from digital training. We have over 400 online courses available with classroom training and experience. So you can do digital, online, in-person classroom, and get AWS certifications. And please go to our aws.training so you can find out more. But the other thing, one of the programs I have to say that I love, it's one of the things I get up every day and I get excited about our progress here, is our AWS Educate program. And we created this program now almost 3 years ago, a little more, where we provide, we have hundreds of thousands of students now, thousands of universities around the world and high schools participating, where we're creating the next generation of cloud builders and workers in IT. And this is curriculum focused. You can do badging along the way for pathways, but we provide curriculum, classroom credits for all the students and teachers to learn together. They can share their best practices. They can earn these credentials along the way. We have a jobs board now where they can put up, once they're certified, they can put up their resume, and we do jobs matching. I call it my Tinder for jobs matching because I want to make sure at the end of the day, everyone gets a job. For us, it's about creating the workers and then helping them get the right jobs. And this is such a great program. And in fact, this last year at my summit, we announced our first 2-year cloud computing associate's degree. And now we have 4-year cloud associate's degrees. And we're taking these around the world. But this is kind of a different program where we work with the vocational schools or colleges, and we work backwards from the skills that are needed with both us and our customer, because once they graduate or along the way, we don't want to have to retrain. So this is about having the right skills for the job in real time. And today, quite frankly, we're still seeing a real absence of the right skills being taught in the computer science and IT programs. And not only do we want this to be about reskilling at the public sector level or new skilling for our students, we also need to think about diversity and inclusion in our workforce. So we also have a program, which again, one I love, that I help create, called We Power Tech. And now my teams and All the teams across Amazon are using this program and our partners. But this is really about how we create a more diverse and inclusive work environment. And today you're going to be hearing a panel with me facilitating from 12:30 to 1:30 on how we think about race, gender, age, diversity of all kinds, and how we can bring that into the IT work environment a lot more. Okay, so now we've gone through all of these. I want to wrap it up by saying you've gotten through all these. Again, you heard from our customer about scale and speed. He had like 10 different points in his presentation about how they're moving faster, and they're iterating through that. So if you look at the experimentation on the bottom, they've experimented, they've learned, they've failed quickly, they've moved quickly, and they're reducing their speed to success and time. Because they can try these things, they're taking the undifferentiated heavy lifting. He had the architecture slide about where they were and where they've come. These are all the principles of cloud computing, and he showed them to you beautifully, just in a solution manner where I'm kind of taking you through how we think about it at the very top level. So now once you get through these, you're ready to go. You're ready to move fast. You have all the tools that are required to get you going in the cloud. And once you're moving fast, what customers tend to say to us, okay, I need migration tools. I need tools now. I'm ready. I've got all these. How do I get going even faster? And we've put some programs in place to help you, which is we have a cloud adoption framework. We have a migration acceleration program that we work with both ourselves and partners on. And we have a tool called Cloud Endure migration program, which is free to you, that will help you also move your applications over and make sure that you optimize those applications. So now you're ready to go. I've given you all the tools. You know, you're prepared. You can leave here today saying, look, where am I on my journey? What do I still need to do? What are the elements of all that kind of coming together? Now I've given you that, I'm going to invite to the stage to lay out even some more powerful case studies for organizations to move faster, Peter Moore, who is my Regional Managing Director for Asia, Pacific, and Japan. Welcome to the stage, Peter. Yay!
Thank you. Wow. It's just so great to see so many countries across Southeast Asia represented by all of you here today, because I know that you're all at different stages, but you're all on this journey, and we want to be there for you on this journey as we go through this together. So I want to talk a little bit about data. One of the most important parts of that migration journey is really thinking about your existing data and maybe the data that you're going to acquire. We offer 12 unique ways to move data to the cloud. And here are just 4 of those available in the Singapore region today. AWS Storage Gateway helps you to connect your on-premise environment to AWS. Data Sync automates the transferring of your data at speeds of up to 10 times faster than open source tools that you might have used before. And AWS Snowball is a petabyte scale solution for moving very large amounts of data at costs as low as 1/5 of the cost if you were to transfer that data using high-speed internet. And for really large workloads, and we hope we get some of these, we created AWS Snowmobile. The data truck can be connected directly to your network backbone and then transported over the road to our data center and move that data into our environment. I'm really looking forward to seeing the first snowmobile in Singapore. It might cool it down, you never know. Anyway, the ability to move data to the cloud is important because the amount of data being collected is just growing exponentially. Today, there's billions of devices in homes, in factories, oil wells, hospitals, cars, thousands of other places. And soon, there'll be billions more. With the proliferation of devices, you'll increasingly need solutions to connect them, collect, store, and analyze device data. AWS IoT provides broad and deep functionality. spanning from the edge to the cloud. This allows you to build IoT solutions for virtually any use case across a wide range of devices. Our device software allows you to connect securely connected devices, gather data, and take intelligent actions locally where that device is, even if there's no internet connection to the cloud. Control services allow you to control, manage, and secure large and diverse device fleets. And then data services helps you to extract value from that IoT data that you're collecting. So a very comprehensive solution to those billions of devices that are going to be out there. Here's just one example that I'll share with you about IoT helping public sector organizations understand this data-rich world. In India, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs is using AWS IoT to help build 100 smart cities across the country. In the city of Surat, IoT data is helping the city manage garbage collection, food safety, and disease transmission. Just a few months into the project, the ministry has collected more than 3,300 data sets from across those 100 cities. And over the next 2 years, they expect the number to exceed 100,000 data sets. So it's a very rich, data-rich world. Finally, one of the most powerful tools available to public sector today is machine learning. Apart from all of that underlying capability that you heard from Teresa and from our customer, the depth and breadth of our capabilities allows you to do things that you could only dream about before with your existing environment. Machine learning has the power to deliver citizen services much faster and transform the way that students learn and solve some of our most pressing challenges in the world today. There's just two examples. Healthcare providers are using machine learning analysis to detect cancer much faster so that the right amount of the right type of cure can be given to the patient, saving lives. And universities are using AI services to enable secure online examinations, expanding access and opportunities for students to learn wherever they may be. And the good news is that with AWS, you don't need to be an expert to get started with machine learning today. We think about machine learning as having a 3-layer stack. At the bottom of the stack, we support a broad range of frameworks so data scientists can build freely. Doesn't matter, do you want to use TensorFlow or Gluon? It doesn't matter, MXNet. We provide access to all of those frameworks with the interfaces and the infrastructure that you need to be able to take advantage of that, and you don't need to be an expert. The middle layer is Amazon SageMaker. We created this so anyone can focus just on their data. SageMaker is a fully managed service. It covers the entire machine learning process, helps you to label and prepare your data, and provides you with the right algorithms, training and tuning your model so that you can get access to the information you want quickly without being a data scientist. Maxar, the world's leading provider of satellite data, has used this layer to track and train a caching algorithm across 100 petabytes in just 1 week. With SageMaker, they improved their caching hit rate by 2 times and reduced their storage costs by 50%. So that's just one example, there's many more. At the top layer, it's really about the advanced services that give things like speech to text with Lex and text to speech with Poly. And they can be leveraged just with a simple API call like any other service. Even if you have no machine learning experience, you can embed machine learning into your applications starting today. And if you want to learn more about the machine learning stack, please attend our machine learning sessions that we have available for you this afternoon. You've heard us talk about tech for good, and it's one of the things that I really love about working in the public sector with AWS is it's not just about the technology, but it's making world a better place. And it really motivates our entire team every day. Our next speaker is a spectacular example of this. His organisation is using machine learning to protect some of the most endangered species in Southeast Asia. Specifically, Edwin is going to come up, tell you about how his team are using machine learning to study the orangutan population in Borneo and help protect endangered species. Please welcome the Manager of Information Technology for the World Wildlife Fund for Nature, Mr. Edwin Chaidir.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. It's an honor for me to be here at AWS ASEAN Public Sector Summit 2019 in Singapore. My name is Edwin. I'm an IT manager for WWF Indonesia. And I would like to share our journey in adopting cloud solution to support our wildlife conservation science, especially in Indonesia. So, in this period, where the human activities strongly influence many ecosystems in the Earth, our planet is rapidly changing. Forests are disappearing, many mammals, flagships are trying to survive, coral reefs are dying, and also plastic everywhere. For nearly 60 years, WWF has been protecting the future of nature. We are here before it's too late. WWF Indonesia missions is to conserve and manage ecosystem and biodiversity to support human well-being to present and future generations. We focus on 4 domains: forests, wildlife, ocean, and footprints. We also work to influence the markets, the finance, and governance to achieve our conservation goals. To achieve our conservation goals, WWF Indonesia monitor 21 flagship species and over 300 important species across 25 protected areas, covering more than 10 million hectares of land and sea. We work with 100 scientists and local stakeholders each year to collect all data on this huge area. Detecting and identifying these animals in the wild is very challenging. Why? Because they are shy and they're constantly on the move. With limited resources that we have, we can only survey only small observations area each time. Time is of the essence. The current rate of species extinctions can be up to 1,000 times higher than the nature intended. So we see a shocking 60% decline of the population of mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles in just over 40 years. It is estimated that the current orangutan populations is less than 75,000 individuals, with the declining rate of the more than 25% over the last 10 years. It means that each year we are losing almost 2,000 orangutan due to habitat loss, illegal trade, and forest fires. With its high declining rates and low reproduction rate of orangutan, so orangutan is listed as critically endangered species. This means the future of these populations is depend on what we do now and what we do in the futures. We've developed a prototype using AWS machine learning technology to help us monitor their populations and identifying those individuals in their habitats. One of orangutan habitat is Pungu Alas, located in the center of Kalimantan, where we are conducting our orangutan surveys. So I want to take you to Pungu Alas in the next short videos. And now, for the real-life example, I want you to meet Nani. I'd like you to spend the next 1 minute pretending to become an orangutan expert in Pungu Alas. So your mission, if you wish to accept it, is to identify Nani. Nani is a young female orangutan. She has several features, like a bump on the forehead, with bangs and long hair all over her body. So pay attention to the Nani. As you know the feature of Nani, and want to help us to identify Nani from these images. Please raise your hand if you know which Nani from the following images. Those of you who choose number 1 as Nani. Okay, we see audience there. Number 2. Okay, I see also. Number 3. Yes. And number 4. Oh, not number 4. How about number 5? Okay, and the answer is? Hi. It's me, Nani, number 2. So I want to congratulate those of you who correctly picked Nani. So what do you think? Is it easy or is it difficult to identify the orangutan from images? In fact, 10 times more difficult to identify them in the wild. Therefore, now is the right time for us to use technology to wildlife monitoring more effectively and efficiently. In the past, the orangutan identification process was done manually, whereby the local expert directly identify those individuals in the field through the photo identifications. The dependency of the local expert is very high, and also the monitoring process consumes a lot of effort and time. WWF Indonesia worked with AWS to deploy a machine learning model to automate those processes, those identification of orangutan individuals based on their physical characteristics. We use several AWS web services such as Amazon S3, SageMaker, Ground Truth, Lambda, and also the API gateway. After the model has been developed, so we test by submitting new images of orangutan individuals and let the SageMaker automatically do the identification of those individuals. And for the current prototype, because of the small collections of images that we use for the training, the range of the confidence level were very wide, ranging from 35% to 99%. By the end of this year, we hope the new prototype version will have more images for trainings, thus reducing the range of confidence level to 75% to 99 to 90%. With this high accuracy of predicted models, sure will help us to reduce time and money to spend on wildlife identifications of orangutan. Also, decreasing the dependency of the local expert. Thus, we can also invest more in our resources to protect this wildlife. We are not reinventing the wheels, but we're building up from the current technology to improve further conservation actions. We believe that technology can overcome the challenges during the field data collections. The technology can improve collaboration between data surveyors, scientists, and also technical experts, and also can facilitate innovation and creation of new ideas and tools. Technology advances are boundless and limitless, and you know there are a lot of opportunities that using technology to support conservation. In fact, this is only just the beginning, because we are planning to expand this project to tigers, wild shark, and also to identify the illegal wildlife trades. So we need you to be part of this team to continue driving the innovation of new technology. Together, we can support the conservations and make better life we live in. If you want to support our cause, so don't hesitate to go to the link on the top right. And it is called for action for every person, every business, and every government, and reminding them that together we can protect the very things that keep us alive, because we believe that together anything is possible. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the contributors and AWS teams for the opportunity and the support and make this pilot project possible. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. Wow. That's amazing. I'm still really, blown away by that story, and it's not about technology. Technology is an enabler, but it's people like this that are really helping to save the planet and make it a better place for our children. So thank you very much for everything that you do. It's really impactful, Edwin. Thank you. But it's exciting to see the power of the technology, the machine learning capabilities, to be able to do something that, even if we had enough people to spend time looking at pictures, it's just such a difficult job. And we've seen lots of examples of how machine learning, put in the hands of people who really care about things like this, can make such an impact in the world today. So I really appreciate that. As you've heard, AWS gives your developers the freedom to build. But let me talk a little bit about how. So on AWS, your developers actually have access to 165 different services. That makes AWS the broadest platform for today's builders. And You can see many of these services listed on the slide behind me, but it's not just the breadth of our platform. What you can't see on this slide is that AWS is also the deepest platform for builders. Each one of these services is rich with key features that gives builders the right tools for the specific job that they're trying to do so that they can be as productive as you want them to be. And we're not slowing down. In 2018, we released 1,957 new services and features. Now, you may say that's 2018. Well, we release these numbers every year at our big event called reInvent. And you can just look at the trajectory from this slide to guess, if you want to, how many features and services we're going to be launching that we've launched in 2019. So we're not slowing down. It's exponential, the growth of innovation that we're bringing. Just look at compute instances. In 2018, we released more than 3 times as many compute instances as the year before. Just one of our service types. And we now have 190 different compute instances for virtually any need that you will have in your business. It's important to really know that 95% of our roadmap is driven by you, our customers, and the feedback you give us about what you need. We're not slowing down because we listen to what you need, and we're going to continue to do that. And the more you ask for, the more we're going to give you. You're not required to use all of these services, obviously, but each one of you has different requirements. They're there for when you need them. To see why this high pace of innovation matters, let's take a look at Singapore University of Social Sciences as an example. This university turned to AWS to deliver a mobile application that allowed students to quickly access their learning materials. The university leveraged Amazon's EC2 instances and elastic load balancing to optimize their performance. And with AWS, the university has made access for this application-based course material 70 times faster, all while reducing their IT infrastructure costs by 50%. So this is the sort of capability value that you can get by using AWS. And finally today, we're going to continue to launch new programs and opportunities to support your growth. To support our education technology companies as an example, yesterday we held our first regional AWS EdStart Immersion Day. And we welcomed 25 members of our EdStart program to a day of networking and learning with their peers, customers, and investors. And 2 days ago, our EdStart team brought a closed-door pitch session to 20 EdStart members and pitched to the Asian Development Bank. This is just the start. We want to scale these opportunities right across Southeast Asia so that startups in your country that are interested in supporting the education business can do that. If you are an EdTech here that's today, I encourage you to talk to the team who are in the expo hall today, and they'll help you on this journey. And last but certainly not least, as I mentioned earlier, in December this year, the first week, December 2 to December 6 in Las Vegas is our reInvent conference. We're expecting more than 50,000 customers at that event. And that's a fantastic opportunity to really deep dive into our technology and talk with other customers that are like you on this journey. It's a unique opportunity to learn from others all around the world, hear from AWS experts, and continue your cloud journey that you're on with us. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this morning's session. To close, I want to leave you with 3 actions. The first one, dive deep. Go into today's sessions and learn about what we can do to help you. Number 2, network and learn with other summit attendees. They're all on this journey with you. And number 3, go to the expo hall. The expo hall is where you'll see the AWS team, but you'll also see our partners who are there to help you as well about your cloud journey. So thank you. It's been great having you here today, and enjoy the rest of the day.